It takes a village, because for all means for all. Together we'll break down any wall. Linked in love, we won't disarm. We're uniting the grassroots army strong. So press play, feel the spark. This is where the movement starts. It takes a village and we're the proof. Truth in action, raising the roof. It takes a village. It takes a village. We rise together, louder than fear. One voice from fire, crystal clear. From every banner, every street, unity moves on dancing feet. We rise together, we're strong. A million hearts singing one song.
Hey there, village. Welcome in. I am so sorry about the delay. My goodness, what a crazy afternoon. And we have an echo. Yes, let's fix that. That would be great. Hi, guys. How's it going? I am your charming and furious host, Political Jess, and welcome to It Takes a Village, the show where we gather together twice a week to scream into the void professionally and then immediately organize about it afterwards. You know me. I'm charming. I'm furious. I am your neighborhood-friendly democracy goblin, and tonight we have a lot to talk about. The first things first, tap the screen, share the live. You know how much I love to remind all of you that the algorithm only pays attention to you if you poke it relentlessly. So continue to do that, okay? Because apparently in 2026, the survival of democracy depends on whether TikTok thinks we are engaging enough. Very normal country. No, totally healthy. No notes, none and all. And y'all, every single day in America now feels like opening your front door and finding a raccoon driving a forklift through your constitutional rights. It's fun. It's great. You wake up, you check the headlines, and suddenly there's another attack on public education. Another billionaire explaining why working people are lazy. Another law trying to control women's bodies, queer bodies, books, libraries, teachers, voting rights, healthcare, or just basic human dignity. And somehow, in the middle of all of that chaos, we are still having to celebrate things like Oklahoma finally making child marriage illegal in the year of our Lord, 2026. The bar is not in hell anymore, people. It is underneath hell in a decorative little storage basket from Target. But here's the thing that keeps me going. Here's the thing they never seem to understand about us. We are still here. Every day, regular people wake up exhausted, underpaid, overwhelmed, grieving, anxious about groceries and rent and whether this country even sees them anymore, and they still choose to fight for each other. Because the truth is, change rarely starts in the safe places. It starts with stubborn people in impossible districts. It starts with candidates who are told they can't win. It starts with underdogs who decide that even if the odds are terrible, surrendering the country to extremism without a fight is simply not an option. Impossible seats are where the movements are born. Hard races force conversations. Hard races build infrastructure. Hard races wake people up. And the hard races remind forgotten communities that there is someone out there who actually still believes they're worth fighting for. That's why this moment matters so much. Authoritarians are counting on exhaustion. They are counting on apathy. They're counting on working people throwing up their hands and saying, nothing will ever change. But history has never belonged to comfortable people. It belongs to the loud ones, the persistent ones, the ones who keep showing up even when the road looks impossible. And honestly, that's the village in a nutshell. So before we get on with tonight's guest tonight, which I do see you in the chat, so thank you so much for joining us. Before we get on to our guest tonight, we need a little hope and humanity, and because if I keep raw dogging the news cycle without emotional support, I'm going to end up living in the woods and screaming at passing Teslas. And oh, that is so tempting. So let's kick it over to our very own sunshine resistance fighter, Jen, for tonight's Journeys with Jen. Wait for it. Wait for it. Hang on. I got a button. Wait. We've got our shit together. I promise you.
Oh, the applause were great. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. So we have a lot going on today. We have several primaries that are happening in May. Does anyone know how many?
54.
Close. 7.
No, that's close.
So we have one primary tomorrow in Louisiana, which is huge. And I do hear from people who are in Louisiana that big things are happening. I think they, even with all of the crazy shenanigans going on, they are very hopeful in Louisiana. So we'll see how that turns out. And then we have on May 19th, we have primaries in Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Oregon. And one of the best places that you can go to prepare for your primary is going to be www.vote411.org. So this is something where you can check your voter registration status. I can't tell you how many stories we have heard through this primary cycle where people have shown up to vote to find out that they are not registered. And that's a huge issue. So be looking at that now. Don't wait till the last minute. You can also see what's on your ballot. You can also find where your polling place is to go and cast. So those are just things that we've really got to do. We've got to make this, we've got to come out in big numbers. We've got to be able to prepare for November. And I think that showing up to the primaries is just as important. So this is a step to make sure that you're doing exactly what you need to do before we get to November. You're muted, Jess.
That's because I was sharing out the live like a good little squirrel. Hang on just a second. I'm so sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Just a reminder, everybody, the algorithm loves it when you poke it relentlessly. So just continue tapping. Just tap, tap, tap. All the way to, grandmother's house we go. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Jen. Seriously, I think one of the most radical things we can do right now is to just continue believing that people are still capable of goodness and courage and, community in a world that profits from keeping us isolated and afraid. So with that, Village, tonight's guest is exactly the kind of candidate that we talk about all the time on this show. Not somebody who was handed a perfect path. Not somebody running because it's politically convenient, but somebody stepping into the arena during one of the messiest, loudest, most exhausting political moments of our lifetime and saying, no, not my community. My community deserves better than this. So tonight we're talking to Brandon Wade, candidate for Congress in Oklahoma's 2nd Congressional District. And listen, if you've spent any time paying attention to Oklahoma's politics lately, you already know it's not exactly what consultants would call an easy district. But frankly, the consultants have gotten us into enough trouble already, so they can just bite me. Because real change does not happen when everybody waits for permission. It happens when ordinary people decide that they're tired of being underestimated. So Village, please help me in welcoming the amazing, the incomparable, and one-of-a-kind Brandon Wade. Thank you so much for joining us, Brandon.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Peachy keen, Jelly Bean.
Great to be on here.
You are going to get me in trouble. I have to tell you, first of all, my grandmother, okay, my grandmama is from the South. And I spent a large amount of time in my life living in California. And I only talk like this when I hear y'all talking. So if I start, this is like my childhood's coming, my grandmother's coming out right now. So if I start doing this, please know I'm not making fun of you, okay? This is ingrained in my being. So I just have to put that out there for you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you all for having me. It's great to be on here and sharing what we're doing. I think everybody is tired of the way things are going.
It's been a ride, hasn't it? Are you holding up okay?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a lot of work. I don't know if people really understand it. I tell everybody, I'm not a politician. I'm just a working class guy that's trying to make a change. It's tired of the way things are going. With the union background I've had before, being a union representative and stuff before, I understand how to represent people, and I know, it's always been part of me. If you don't like the way things are going, then you need to be part of the change. So you got to stand up and do something about things.
You got to be the change you want to see in the world. That is for sure. So let's ease into today's news, because I was super excited that Oklahoma just made child marriage essentially illegal in the year of our Lord 2026. So what does that say about where we are as a country? That this is still a fight that has to happen.
It's disappointing that we're still in this 250 years into this country, that we're still in the spots we are for a lot of things, but those things especially just are mind-boggling to believe that we're still even having those conversations. It's just unacceptable. And Oklahoma is one of the reddest states in the nation, and it's just shows the way that people continue to believe and feel. It's just unfortunate that we can't draw more attention to these things. We want to protect pedophiles in places in higher offices and people that do things that shouldn't be done, that should be prosecuted and given justice to. But we're standing behind and protecting those people for some reason.
Definitely. Just a reminder, everybody, keep tapping up that screen. Share your heart me's if you can. If you have not done that today, I'm actually doing that right now. So, I have to be a good little audience member as well as an interviewer. So yay for me. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's totally, it's depressing, but it gives me hope, because if Oklahoma can do it, then hopefully it will start to spread to the other, especially the southern states, and we can start to right some of these wrongs that have been going on for just way too long. Okay, so what made you look at this political climate and say, yes, sign me up? What was it?
A lot of what was being said during the intro is a lot of those things have just drawn me to needing to be involved and try to make a change. My son's a sophomore in college here in state at Oklahoma State University, and it was a conversation he had with my wife about once he got done with school and decided to get married and have family, he didn't know he wanted to stay in Oklahoma. And that being Sooner born and bred here in Oklahoma and always being part of Oklahoma and our community here in Bartlesville, I couldn't imagine calling someplace else home, and started making me quit doing the working so much, trying to get by and make sure we had everything we needed. Here, just constant working, putting in tons of hours of overtime and not really paying attention to what's going on around me, and actually opened my eyes to look. And it's those things that just standing up for other people. And then once I started looking and paying attention to what's going on around us, it was eye-opening. It just made me want to make a change, make a better life for my son later down the road, and for everybody else throughout there, all the people that's in the same situation, all the working class people. We're all in this together and struggling. I think the changes are coming. I really do believe you're seeing changes in Oklahoma. I think we're going to see it throughout the nation, throughout the midterms, where people are tired of the way things are going and looking for something different.
Are you concerned about the redistricting that's happening all over the country right now?
What is that? Sorry.
Are you concerned about the redistricting that's happening?
Yeah, that's something that I really want to get rid of as soon as I get in office, is getting rid of the gerrymandering, making it illegal. It's, both sides are guilty of doing it when they're in power. And to me, it's wrong. It's putting a finger on the scale. And I'm very big supporter of, people's voices should be heard and they should be the ones making the decisions. We shouldn't gerrymander things around to get the votes that we need in order to make people win elections. We've seen that about 4 years ago, I believe it was, here in Oklahoma with District 5 in Oklahoma. They gerrymandered out about 80,000 votes in CD5 and got the incumbent removed, which was a Democrat at the time, because of that. And it's just, those things we got to stop those things.
Yeah. there's two schools of thought that I've heard. One is that the right is going to continue to not play fairly, and I'm choosing my words very carefully for TikTok purposes. But there's a bunch of people who believe that they will actually triumph in the midterms because of what they're doing. Now, I of course believe the opposite. I feel like there's going to be a giant blue, but I'm in a bubble. So, I'm in my own little political bubble, and yeah, I can only gauge the fury of America based off of my own fury. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. I see both sides of it, and I just don't like it happening. I think we should get rid of it, but I can see, the other side's point of, well, if they're going to do it, then we ought to do it in the states where we have the power to do it. But it's still putting the finger on the scale either way, which, doesn't make it right. Two wrongs doesn't make it right. And, I understand fighting fire with fire kind of thing, but I really do believe that the people are upset enough with the way things are going, and they're actually even seeing that this kind of stuff is being done right in front of them to change their will. I mean, to suppress the voters' voice. And so I think it's going to make a difference. I don't know if the gerrymandering is going to, it may win some of the areas, but it may backfire on them in some places. I think people may show up even more and cast votes different directions.
Yeah. Just a reminder, chat, thank you all so much for being here. If we get to 100,000 likes in this live, then yeah, we're going to make a donation to Brandon's campaign. So make sure you're tapping, okay? The algorithm loves it when we poke it relentlessly. Oslo says, fighting fire with fire just means more houses burn down, but right now it's one of our only options. And I tend to agree with that. With everything that's happening, we've been taking the high road the whole, forever.
It's time to fight. I mean, I completely agree that it is time to fight. We've been the good guys too nice for too long, and it's got its second place, and that's now put us in the place that we have been for decades. We've been going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and I think that putting your thumb on the scale is one thing, but I would like to see the scale completely busted. I just want to break it.
Reset it, get rid of it and make it where it's, a fair, honest deal. My thought towards gerrymandering is just do away with it completely and, use modern technology to draw districts. Just like in Oklahoma, we have 5 congressional districts. So then you just take a computer program and say, okay, divide this district in 5 even districts, not cutting through counties, leave whole counties intact, and take 18 and older people from the census and divide by, it doesn't matter what political party they are, just divide them evenly. And then you got to go to work, whichever party it is. If you're in a Republican and a Democratic now district, then you need to go to work and register and convince more people to come out and vote. And
yeah, that's the thing.
And it's one of many problems we have, and that's, money in politics is another one.
Money in politics is a big one. It's a big one. Can you tell me more about your specific district? How does your community believe things are going right now? Have you, how big is your district? Where is your district located? And, what else can you tell us about the climate over there?
Okay. For, people that know Oklahoma or look at Oklahoma on a map, CD2 is a fairly large district. It's from the Kansas line, from Washington County, the Kansas line, all the way down to the Texas line, eastern Oklahoma. So it goes around Tulsa, and then covers pretty much all eastern Oklahoma. It's like 26, almost 27 counties, cuts in between a few of them. And so it's a large district of a lot of traveling and a lot of doors in between. But it's a large rural communities, a lot of rural neighborhoods and stuff like that, which gives it's farmers, ranchers, and the damages that has happened with the big beautiful bill and the cuts of our rural hospitals and Medicaid and all that stuff is causing issues throughout the community. So when you go out and talk in community events and different places, festivals that they have, knock doors, what I'm hearing and seeing is people are ready for a change. And we just, because when I knock doors, I don't just knock Democratic doors. I go knock every door I can because I need everybody's vote. And Oklahoma's second congressional district, unfortunately, in one of the red states in the nation. Somebody had said it's one of the fourth largest Republican district in the nation. We're outnumbered. I think there's like last time I looked, 265,000 registered Republicans and about 135 registered Democrats in the district. So
Holy
it's
moly.
2-1. I mean, and so we've got to get Republican votes, and to do that, you have to get out and have a conversation with them. You have to have conversations with what I would call traditional Republicans that really want to listen to somebody and they want somebody to represent them. And that's what I've been telling so many of the people I talk to is, I'm not a career politician. I'm not a politician at all. I am truly a representative. I've done that for 26 years. I was a union representative. So I understand to represent people, you have to listen to them. And those are the conversations I'm having with them. What do you need to see have done? And, don't you want a representative to go to this district, represent you and go to DC and do the job they're supposed to do, where they represent you and they are truly your voice. They know how you all feel and what you want to have done. So they're voting with your best interest at heart. And as a representative, I understand that you're not making everybody happy. And if you're doing your job right, you're going to have people upset with you because you can't please everybody. So you've got to do what's best for your district as a whole. And to do that, you have to be in touch with them. You have to go out and have conversations. You have to have true town halls where everybody comes to those town halls and you have open conversations with them to hear what needs to be taken care of, where they're struggling, and the things that would benefit them. That's what this district really, what I'm seeing, most of it is. It's a lot of rural area. We have a few larger cities in it, but it's mostly rural communities, and a lot of where I grew up, a lot of farm boys, country guys out there, that are out working day to day and then go home and work on that farm or land there as well after putting in 40 plus hours a week.
Right. When's the last time your representative had a town hall?
Well, right after the big beautiful bill, what he called was town halls. He did a big tour through all up and down the eastern part of Oklahoma, hit every county, but it wasn't really a town hall. I mean, he was there explaining the big beautiful bill and how great it was and all the details to it, and barely took any questions from anybody. So, I mean, I'd say I don't know if he's had a town hall, to be honest, because to me, that's really not town halls. I mean, he didn't really take questions and answer from people. And when he did get questions that didn't want to answer, they would silence it and say the meeting was done. So it was not really a town hall.
Yeah, my representative, he's a Republican as well, and he's doing the same thing. But he's like, when you call and say, when can we expect a town hall? He's like, well, they had a town hall last weekend. It was a fundraiser for, this. I'm like, if I have to pay $10,000 a plate to see my congressperson who represents me, then that's not a town hall. I'm so sorry. Hate to break your bubble.
Not a representative either. If you're having to pay to get to that person to see him and to voice your concerns.
Yeah. And I think the Republican side has totally lost the plot on that. So super refreshing to see people like you in rural districts who are standing up, knowing that you have an uphill battle to climb. And it's not impossible, it's not impossible. And we said the same thing to Jeff Pixley a couple weeks ago. It's not impossible. And even if you don't reach the finish line, you still made an impact. Yeah. And we got to celebrate those gains, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got to keep moving forward and try to do something to make a change. Every little gain we get, it helps the next person out that does this, or, hopefully we get across the finish line first eventually. But it is, like you said, it's not impossible. It is an uphill challenge, but I've always been a person, I was big in sports growing up and really super competitive. So a challenge is something I love to have. I love to have challenges, and I want to work forward to do things I'm told I can't do. That drives me and pushes me even harder. So those challenges are very exciting to me, and I like to have those challenges. So I'm up for the race and see what happens. And I think we can make a change. It's just getting to enough people. It's a large district, and it's going to, like I said, it takes a village. It takes everybody, and that's what I'm telling everybody, throughout all the county parties and everywhere. We got to get everybody together. We got to work together. Use your precinct officers. Let's go talk to your friends, family, neighbors. these people, go talk to them and start spreading the news and make plans to get out to vote. That's, a big thing. Primaries, we got the raise the wage on there for raising the minimum wage in Oklahoma. And we got big turnout for that. That's
yes. I'm actually really excited about that, because if Oklahoma does it, then Texas will be next. And that's, we got to get rid of Hot Wheels first, but I think it's going to be good, right? Like the minimum wage hasn't changed in 2 decades.
Yeah. Almost 2 decades. And it's too low. And it's not kept up with everything that's been going on. And like I tell everybody, get out and vote. We got to do it in Oklahoma. But if we don't do it in Oklahoma, then elect people that are going to make it happen on the federal scale, because it's too low, and we got to get wages up, and we got to ring in the corporate greed of it, because that's, the Oklahoma's already got the ads going around that it's going to cost everything to go up. It's going to rise costs, as if we're not already seeing rising costs of everything that's going on by the administration that's in office right now.
I know, right?
We're already facing it, and our wages aren't going up, but everything else is.
Thank you so much, Oslo, for stopping by and being a wonderful door for us. I appreciate you, my friend. Always welcome here. If you don't follow Oslo, you definitely should be. And just a reminder, please tap up that screen. If we get to 100,000 likes, we will be making a donation to Mr. Wade's campaign, which will be fabulous for him. I'm telling you, these rural seats need all the help they can get. Make sure you're also following Brandon and sharing out his content. We made a sticker for you. Did you see that? It's so cool. We'll make sure to email it to you so you can use it in your stuff.
Yeah.
So on days where democracy feels like it's being held together with duct tape and caffeine, what keeps you going?
It's just the thought that, there's too many people out there that feel the same way that I do, that are struggling to get by and that need to see a change. It's just the hope that we're seeing the change, that it's going to happen, that people are tired of it and they're ready to, like I said, 250 years in this country, a revolution is probably about ready to go again, where it's time that we stand up and vote people out of here and reboot our government. It's failed us for decades. It's been going the wrong way, and we've had people in there that have forgot what they're sent there to do. So that is what's pushing me is, I think it's the hope of people are tired and are ready for a change, and it's going to happen this election cycle.
I hope so. I feel like the rage I'm feeling about our political climate right now has seeped into every pore of my body, and I'm really just kind of hoping that there are other people, especially women, especially moms, who are feeling exactly the same way that I am and are ready to flip the table over. So that's my hope, especially in the rural states.
A lot of women I talk to are tired of it. And it's the challenges that they put forth, and wanting to try to restrict and make it even harder to vote, with all the stuff they're doing. If your birth certificate's got to match your current name on your license, or you've got to show the chain of command to get there, how you got to that point and prove it. It's unnecessary steps to do something that's supposed to be a right that we have to vote as U.S. citizens. And that's just yet again another attack on the voters in this country.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later on too. But I wanted to ask you specifically about Oklahoma voters. Can you tell me something that outsiders fundamentally misunderstand about Oklahoma and its population?
I don't know. I think the rural community of what Oklahoma is, I think a lot of times voters, a lot of our voters, we have the lowest voter turnout in the nation. So that goes to show a long way that for so long, the gerrymandering that's happened and the things that have happened is they've suppressed the voters to where they feel like there's not a hope or not a chance. Yeah. So they just don't turn out to vote. And I think that's something that's really big with Oklahoma, that we got to change, and that we've been working on that. A lot of the other candidates that's running for congressional districts as well is spreading the same messages. Your vote does matter, and you got to make a change. It only doesn't matter if you don't show up to vote. And if you continue to believe that, you're falling right into the playbook that they want you to have. that's where they're putting you so you don't turn out, so they can continue to have power. It's a lot of rural communities throughout Oklahoma, other than some of the bigger cities like Oklahoma City and Tulsa and those areas. So it's a lot of just working class people out there that need to see the things change, their healthcare, school systems, and those things that have been hurting with Oklahoma now becoming dead last in the nation in education. So it's those are important topics to our voters that I think is a big thing that we look at. It's big in a lot of areas, but some states have it a whole lot better than Oklahoma does as far as the people we continue to put in office, because one, the gerrymandering and the districting the way it's been, and then the just low voter turnout because of the hopeless spilling. And that's what we're fighting against, and that's what we're having to change all in this process to get everybody out to vote so we can see the change.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the same thing is happening in Texas too, where people are Texas has been run by Republicans for 30 years, and we're not doing great, So there's so many people that have just been beaten into the ground, for lack of a better term, as far as having the gumption and the desire to participate in a system that continues to fail them. So it does give me hope, though, that there are people like you and Jasmine Thomas and Jeff Pixley and other amazing people in Oklahoma that are standing up and fighting back. And I think that's so very important, and it's incredibly inspiring. So thank you for doing that. I think it's great.
Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure. I mean, I want to serve the people, so there can't be a higher honor to be elected into this office where I can actually do that and serve the people and put back into my communities and my state. That helping people is something I truly want to make it happen.
So when did politics stop feeling like theoretical for you and actually become deeply personal?
Well, I mean, this is the second time I run for the seat. I run last time. I was in the general against Brasheen, the guy that's in office right now. And it was, really then it really started in 16 when Bernie Sanders was running for the presidential race, and really eye-opened me to when I started listening to what was going on, and Bernie was, the things he was saying, I was like, yeah, this guy has got it going on. He understands, he knows what we need and how we all feel. And I really got excited and on board at that point. I started knocking doors for Bernie Sanders and just trying to get people out to vote, and was, one of the very many that was very upset with the way things happened in that primary. But that was the thing that kickstarted me into was Bernie Sanders, and just the excitement that he shot in to us all with somebody we could believe in that was really going to help and work for us. And he's been doing it for quite a long time, but his track record shows he hasn't changed over the years. He stood for the same things and fought the same battle over and over. So that was somebody that I really got behind, and just to watch the growth, even here in Oklahoma, as red as Oklahoma was, he come here and had his town halls and lines wrapped around our big, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right around the convention center down there, lines wrapped around, standing room only, people standing outside. Bernie done all that time, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours almost inside talking. And then he ended up going out because there was a large crowd outside and doing it again for the people that was outside. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It gives you goosebumps just thinking about it. But that's what really gives me the courage to continue to go and push for it, to hope that I can live up to something like that, and be somebody that encourages people. Maybe I can spark somebody else to step up and try to do this as well, and give them the same kind of inspiration that we can make a difference if we all come together.
What I loved the most about Bernie, and I will never forget that primary pissed me off in ways that I cannot sufficiently put into words. But the thing that I absolutely loved about him is that in a time where politicians were going to Ohio like they always do, and they went to Florida like they always do, and they went to Pennsylvania like they always do, and they went to Michigan like they always do, he went to these rural places, these rural, safe Republican places, and he decided to talk to those people, and that was incredibly inspiring to me.
Yeah, and he does it all the time. I mean, he goes to those places where and he's accepted. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing, because he's true and genuine. That's what the voters see and the people see. I'm like you. I was so very upset over that primary. I think we wouldn't be in the state that we were in if we'd went a different way in that primary.
Yeah, I think we were cheated.
What we had going on right now.
I remember I was in California, living in California at the time, and our primary was the next day. And that night, the AP announced that Hillary was the candidate. And I was like, California's huge. We haven't even had a chance to vote. We haven't even had a chance to vote yet. What the there were so many 4-letter words. I was so mad.
Yeah, he won Oklahoma. I mean, that was,
the writing was on the wall, and I think they had to do something about it. It felt very icky.
It was, and that, and that's, I tell a lot of people when I'm out knocking doors, is I don't work for a political party. I'm running as a Democrat, but that doesn't mean I don't work for them. I don't answer to the Democratic Party. I answer to the people that put me in office, the voters. And, that opened my eyes to how the political system works. And I feel like the Democratic Party has the next up mentality, and we've got to get rid of that. It shouldn't be a party dictating whose turn it is. It should be the people telling them who they want to represent them.
Absolutely.
Exactly where I'm at. I'm so fed up with all of it, and it's just time to make a change. We need people to do their job, and that's represent the people.
Absolutely. I'm cheating. Hang on just 1 second. I have a tapper. I'm going to set up my tapper. If you guys aren't tapping, you should be. The algorithm loves it when you poke it relentlessly, so continue to do that. So this is a perfect question for this right now. What is the conversations that you're hearing on the ground in Oklahoma that Washington elites are completely missing?
I think it's the rising cost of everything out there. How much everything's costing. The mortgage rates are going up. Your groceries are going up. The gas prices are going up. It's what I hear a lot of people and everybody saying is all this stuff was supposed to be going down. We were told they were going to rein this in, that all the prices were going down after we elected Trump into office. So I'm hearing that a lot is what happened? Why ain't they doing the things they said to do? We wasn't going to have wars. We wasn't going to put more money overseas and other places. We're start taking care of America first. And that's a big thing I hear here in Oklahoma is, what happened to the America first? Where are we at? Where are we going to be taken care of? And it's not happening. And that's the conversation I'm having with many voters, and especially, a lot of my traditional Republican friends out there, because in Oklahoma, it's horribly red. This district's horribly red. So I got a lot of family members and friends that, voted the other way. And it's having those conversations with them and just saying, hey, why would you continue to vote this direction when nothing's changing? I understand buying it once, buying it twice, but come on, how many times are you going to buy into the promises of lowering things? They have not done it over years and years. So it's the struggles that everybody's having out there that I keep hearing everywhere we go and talk about. It's just putting food on the table, paying the electric bill, the water bill, sending your kids to school. I mean, that's a giant debt that they're racking up because of student debts. It's just making life unattainable for people later on, and home ownership is becoming impossible. More and more people are renting. A lot of people, unfortunately, we have a large homeless population that's just growing throughout our nation. But in Oklahoma, we're having issues with that. And there's many reasons for those things, but the costs are reasons that are keeping people there when they have bad luck and things that happen to them, medical issues or things like that put them behind, and then they get kicked out or evicted, and then they just struggle. They have jobs, they just can't afford to get back on their feet. And that's just in what is supposed to be the greatest nation in the world. That is heartbreaking that we continue to allow our people to struggle like this.
We're leaving so many people behind.
Yeah. And, so it's not America first at all. And that's, I keep saying that when I go places because, I like the America first talk. I think we should take care of our own stuff here in our country. We can't help other countries out until we get our own orders in affair. we've got to take care of the people here in this country and the things we got going. We need to start bringing down the national debt instead of continually growing it. We've got to start being financially responsible, which is all things you used to hear traditional Republicans talk about.
Yeah, what happened to there? Like, we were promised America first, but it has been nothing. We haven't been getting that. So what the heck? There is a speech. It was a debate, actually, from the 80s between George Bush Sr. and Ronald Reagan. And if you listen to those two talking specifically about immigration, it is shocking because they sound like Democrats. It's crazy. It's on YouTube. If you have not gone to go see it, you should definitely go check it out. It's eye-opening to see how far they've come.
Yeah. It's the parties have changed completely, both sides. They're on both parties. Like I said, that's what I'd call a traditional Republican is not where they used to be in the 80s under, with Reagan. And, it's changed. The landscape has completely changed, and they've lost way of where they were.
Yeah, it's been really weird. We've been on a weird journey. So, do you think we're in a period of collapse, transformation, or one giant national nervous breakdown?
Maybe a little of all that. I mean, I think.
Oh shit!
To be honest, I think things are. If we don't correct course of where we're at, we are on a journey to collapse. I don't think we can continue going the way we're going with the national debt climbing and continue to skyrocket. I think if we don't get a hold of this and start doing something different, it's going to collapse. The working class cannot continue to carry the burden of the wealthy and the corporations out there. We can't. There's only so much we can pay for. I mean, we can't continue to carry it, and if we don't correct that course somehow, we're on the direction for collapse. If that continues that direction, and then I think there's the other aspects as well. There's the inspiration, or okay, we got to do something different. So there's the hope that we're going to change, and people really want to change. Which I've seen that. I really think that's coming, because I think there's too many people that care about, this country and their family members, and they want to see the change happen, and they're going to take their country back. I think it's too much time of seeing us going the wrong way and all the rights that we have in our Constitution just being blatantly violated. I think that's going to make the hope and people reach to make the difference change.
Mm-hmm. One can hope. The rage of the country should not be taken for granted. I think that is a big lesson here. And yeah, middle class and the lower class have been paying for everything for decades now. And it's that chicken's gonna be mighty tasty. So yes. So Oklahoma has become a battleground for public education. Fights and Christian nationalism creeping into government. How serious do you think that threat actually is for Oklahoma and for the rest of the country?
If we don't make changes, I think it's a serious threat. Because Oklahoma's been trying to do it for a long time. We've been under Republican control for a while, and they continuously, almost every year, do the insanity thing of trying to put religion into our public schools and those things, which is
turning point stuff.
So I think those are we're if we don't make changes, we're going that direction if we don't get a hold of it. And if it happens here, it's going to happen everywhere else in the nation. They're gonna get control and continue to do it if they can do it. They use these areas where they can hopefully easily do it. That's their thought process. It's completely it's a red state. They're going to try to do it there, use these as testing grounds of what they can do and what they can get by with, establish their reasoning for it and law behind it to hopefully get law, where now the Supreme Court, which is a joke and biased, will then rule in their favors, and it just becomes law because they're doing what they're not supposed to do. Congress is supposed to be making the laws, and Supreme Court's just supposed to be interpreting those laws and making judgments, rulings based on what the law is. But right now it's flip-flopped, and he's using, this administration is using the Supreme Court as
Is a bludgeon.
Yeah, to make all the rules, start making the rules that they want to make to change our Constitution, and we can't allow that to happen.
Speaking of the Supreme Court, folks, I don't know if you guys got the notifications on your phone like I do, but the Supreme Court has blocked a stay for Virginia's voters to approve their voter maps. So they're siding with their Supreme Court, which is a huge blow to the voters of Virginia. So that should be fun to watch. Yeah. So super fun. Love that for us. So what pushed you from being a frustrated citizen to picking up the mantle and flipping the table over and saying, fine, I'll do it myself?
It's just like I said earlier, what's inside of me of being somebody that's, if you don't like the way things are going, then be part of the change. So that's, as being a union guy and a representative and, fighting for people all my life, all my adult work life, it's just natural. It's just something to fight for my brothers, sisters, and fellow neighbors, just to make sure that they got somebody that's going to stand there for them. I'm not a person to stand by and just watch things happen and say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I feel there's something everybody can do about it, and I just feel like I can do more. I feel like I got more to offer than just being a voter. I feel like I can actually get in there and do the things that need to be done, reach the people on the other side, to have the conversations to help turn things around and adjust and fix the things that we need to fix in our nation, which will help with my state as well.
Amazing. Defending says the fast track portion of the ruling was rejected, not the case. So that's really good information to have. Defending, I'm going to bring you up after I'm done with our slate of questions with Brandon so you can give us the skinny on what's happening, because you're in town. You're right there in Washington, D.C. You could throw a rock at the Supreme Court, and I wouldn't suggest you do that, by the way. Don't do that. Don't, as tempting as that is to do. So what's something that voters should know about you, but they don't expect from you when they meet you?
I think just more about who I am, what my background is, not being a politician, being a working class person. I understand exactly what we're all going through throughout our state, throughout our nation. I'm living it just like everybody else. I'm going to work, putting in 50, 60 hours a week and out there campaigning. After those hours, going on very little sleep, just trying to make a difference. And, that I understand truly how to represent people. I can't say that enough, that's what sets me aside, I think, and makes me ready to go to work the day after election. When I get elected and go to DC to start setting up my staff and getting everything set up and get my office and those things, I'm immediately going to start working with the people that are going to be in office to start having those conversations and try to get them on board with different bills I want to pass, to get them included, because you have to include people and you have to listen to what they had to say and get them bought in to what you're trying to put in there, so you can make these bills pass. And it's to do that work in between, after election to time to get sworn in. It's that work in between that time that's going to help hit the ground running, because right after we get sworn in, we need to go to work. We don't have time. 2 years is not enough time, and we've got to go to work immediately and start passing as many bills as we can, especially if we get control of the House and Senate. We got
especially right now, like usually in a normal environment, and when everything is fine, everything is good in a normal environment, you guys are having to start sprinting on day one. But we're in a weird place right now, so we have to figure out how you guys can teleport, because I just don't think sprinting is going to be enough, No,
it's not. There is just so much to do and not enough time. So that means we got to put in a work. We got to do a little overtime. We got to do what's needed to take care of the things that got to be done, because we also got to do our job of doing something called take care of the budget that hasn't been done forever.
What?
Those are things that we need to set time aside to take care of. So we got to pass these bills and get all this stuff done, and then take care of that stuff as well. It's time for the continual resolutions to go away. It's time to actually pass the budget and start reining that stuff in.
it's not like it fucking changes every goddamn year dramatically. It's the same fucking, like, pardon my French, I cuss a lot. I have the mouth of a sailor. I'm so sorry. But it's not like it changes. You know, it's pretty much the same every
Yeah.
year. There's a few things that like you need to add more here, take away more here, but it's not like they act like they're inventing the wheel, you know, like and yes, I think budget is a 4-letter word. So
It's like I said, yeah, it's not rocket science. It's laid out there. We got a path to follow, and we need to see the things that we want to do and the things we want to changes we want to make, what it costs. Then we got to look at what we need to what can we cut back on? What kind of wasteful spending can we cut back on? So it's not the taxpayers taking care of these extra things to get the things we need. It's where can we cut the cost? Where can we start reining in being those responsible, financially responsible people, and taking care of our budget. It's not rocket science, and it's things that we should be able to do. It's
military
really,
spending.
yeah,
It's military spending.
a very large, getting ready to be $1 trillion a year budget that is on no checks and balance to it. Blank checks are being wrote.
Yeah, for sure. What is your first thing that you're doing when you get into office? What's your what is job number one? What is the thing that you are absolutely committed to doing on day one?
We've got to take care of several different things. I got a bill that I've wrote and put on my website called American Dreams Act, which is going to address healthcare, make affordable healthcare for all. That is a tough topic. So we got to go in and hit the things we can do. One, to fix what the damage done under the big beautiful bill, and ensure that our rural hospitals and throughout all the nation, and especially here in Oklahoma, have funding to have hospitals and everybody can get the health care they need. So we got to put out the fires is what I've been telling everybody. Put out the fires immediately, and then get the groundwork laid for the more long-term down the road thing of how we're getting affordable health care for all. And we got to get that accomplished where you have health care. Every U.S. citizen should have health care, and it should be affordable. We pay taxes, and we should be able to budget that to where we can pay for that with the taxes within our budget, and it will eventually take care of itself. But that's going to be a giant fight that corporations, the insurance companies, and the pharmaceutical companies are all going to be attacking us for that. And we got to get the majority, super majority, to take care of these things, because it's going to take all of us standing together to make that fight. I'm ready to do that. I feel like we got to get healthcare for all. Every other civilized nation in the world has it. It's not that we can't do it. It's just because we let corporate America say no. I mean, that's
capitalism.
Yeah. And then, we need to take care of the homeless situation, which again, if we take care of healthcare and make mental health really part of healthcare, that's going to help tremendously with the homeless situation, and reining in the costs, the rising cost out there of everything. We need to look at taking care and doing things in this country again, so we're not as reliable on other countries for everything, where we can start lowering the costs here in this country. And then right now with the gas prices, I'll give him a tip, but he can nationalize the oil industry here in the U.S. and lower the cost and rein in the cost of that, and quit shipping out so much oil and start taking care of the fuel here in this country. There's a lot of simple things he can do to fix this problem, but that's not his interest. That's not what he doesn't care about us. He doesn't want to take care of us. He's in there for himself and all the big donors he has, which is the oil and gas industry, that are donating big monies to him. Venezuela, that's what that happened for. And that's exactly why. Don't get it wrong. We're over there in Iran right now with the, also helping Israel, wanted a little help with what was going on, but now we're there and we're staying over that way, driving oil prices and controlling that stuff. That's the reason. We go in under the lie that we did back when I think I was graduating high school, the lie of weapons of mass destruction, and we're using that lie again when a few short months ago he said we obliterated all the mass destruction weapons they had, but now they're back again. And it's ironic to find in a nation that has those weapons of mass destruction ourselves, to tell somebody else they can't have those kind of weapons, to do the same thing they say to protect yourself that we're having them for. I mean, we really need to get rid of them altogether throughout the world. But it's just ironic to say that no other nation can have those, but yet we
I
have.
I always thought that was super weird of us Americans to do in World War II after they used those tools twice to go around the world and say nobody else can ever have them, nobody else can ever use them, don't do it, it's terrible. You can have something, you can have something, you can't have anything. Like, so weird, right?
It makes no sense. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
oh, these people can't be trusted with those kind of weapons. Well, I question, can the person that has our nuclear codes right now be trusted with them?
No, we can't be trusted either.
I just, it's one hothead away from mass disaster happening in this country, in this world. And, and as soon as one person irresponsibly hits that button, it's a mass destruction. I mean, we shouldn't have them. Nobody should have them. I agree wholeheartedly that they shouldn't have them, but we shouldn't be trying to enforce that nobody out there can. As a matter of fact, we had a nuclear deal with Iran, and when he came into office, he got rid of it.
He shredded it.
Started the problem. So
yeah,
people seem to forget these things. I don't understand how easily we forget where we just were not very long ago.
It makes me crazy. You'd think that our memory would be longer. Like he did most of this stuff in the first term, only there were guardrails in place to keep him from completely running away with everything. And now there's not. So
I tell people he's not as dumb as we want to say he is, because he learned from his first term. Exactly.
Yeah.
There were guardrails. He had people in place that kept him kind of in check.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, he removed all of that. He didn't put anybody in there that was going to keep him in check, because he had things he wanted to take care of and have done. So not completely stupid, that's for sure. He had a plan, and he's executing what he wants to do with this plan.
I still am waiting for that dirt nap. Just saying. So let's talk about Democrats, because Democrats sometimes lead with policy spreadsheets when people are really asking, like, do you actually see me? Can you hear me? How do we reconnect policy to humanity again?
It's a lot of people talk policy or talk this and that, but with no real plan or compassion about the things that are happening in these people's lives. The struggles that they're going through, even though most Democrats running for an office, I feel are well, depending on how long they've been doing it, are living those same struggles, or they're not that disconnected from it. But it's talking points, just talking policies, talking about things need to be done, versus talking about a plan of how we're going to get to that, or actually just a conversation with a person. That's the biggest thing, a conversation with a voter. And hearing their struggles and listening to them, actually listening, because that's as a guy that's represented many people and negotiated things, that is the biggest part of negotiation, is listening. And it's the same with representation and being a rep in Congress. I feel you have to listen to people. If you don't, you're out of touch with them. And that's where I think our Democratic Party on a national level and in the state even at times, I think, has lost track. They forgot how to connect with people, how they should be listening to people and having real conversations, having the dinner table conversations with people. When you go knock doors, don't just go there looking for donations and stuff, telling them who you are. Actually spend a little bit of time with them and hear what they need to have done. Ask them.
Ask questions.
What their struggles are, because it may vary from one person to another. Yeah, we all share the same needs and struggles, but they may have something that's very dear to them that they really need to be addressed. And you may find that there's more and more people throughout this district that have the same thing. It's just having that conversation. If you don't talk to people and don't really listen to people, quit talking at them and listen to them. That's the thing. And I think that's the biggest struggle that we have is actually listening to the people we go talk to. And like you mentioned, a few names that were running for office here in the state. Jasmine Thomas is one of them. I mean, they're running for Senate. She's out there having the conversations and listening to the people. That is what we need, and that's what gives us all hope that there's somebody out there that's really going to fight for me.
And jamming to Mariah Carey at the same time. I love her. She's fantastic. She was actually one of the first people we ever interviewed on our show. So we've been in her corners like for months and months and months. So your guys' primary has already happened, right?
No, it's June 16th.
June 16th. How many people are you trying to vie for? How many people are you fighting for the seat for with?
Just one, and actually, he's here in my hometown. He's here
Is
in
he
Bartlesville
really?
as well. Yeah, we're both in Washington County. He was a good guy. I mean, I really like him. I don't think I mean, obviously either one of us was better than the guy that's in office right now. I mean, and that's what I tell everybody: go out and research the candidates and vote for the ones who feels best going to represent you. I mean, because and that's where I'm not a politician. I'm not out there telling you got to vote for me. This is why, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to run him down. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's fighting for the right things as well. But who do you think is going to better represent you, or who do you think is going to be able to win the general election? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Who you think's better for you, and who's going to serve you better when they get in that office. And so that's, June 16th is our primary here in Oklahoma. And it's, like I said, it's the same day that we have the vote for minimum wage. So hopefully we have a big turnout.
That would be so amazing.
Go up and people say it's time to make changes.
I think Oklahoma is, there's a lot of promise there, but there's also a lot of, like, for years, you have a huge LGBTQ community that has been ignored. You have a huge disabled community that has been ignored. You've people that have been demonized. Like, if there was ever a time for Oklahoma to start working for Oklahomans, is that the right term?
Yeah, or
Oklahomians,
Oklahomies, or whatever
Oklahomies.
Jasmine says. But yeah, that's what he said. But it's Oklahomans, Okies. That's
Okies. Yes.
Yeah.
Then I mean the time is right now. So I think it's really important when you look at Democrats like Cory Booker or Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer. Do you feel like their politics has become more performative?
Yep. Yeah, I've had this conversation. I was down in Durant not very long ago, and they asked me about it, and I said I think it's time for new leadership. They need to go. I feel it is theoretic a lot. I think they're standing up and making a big stance and making a push of this things and showing, but they're not really. I don't think they're really truly doing the things they should, the fight that needs to be happening constantly behind it. I think there's a complete change that needs to happen in our Congress, and I think it's time for a different leadership. And when we get there, that conversation needs to be had. And it's not going to be popular with the speaker or the one that wants to be the speaker. It's we need to have that conversation, because I don't think that's the direction or the leadership that we need. And I'm not saying I'm the person to step into that, but it may be somebody coming in. I mean, it may just be, we need to find somebody that can stand there and drive and get the people together to get the things done that we got to do and listen to, because I think they're out of touch with the people. I think they know people think, but they're still pushing the agendas that nationally the Democratic Party is saying to do, and so it's back to the bought and paid for thing, and
the status quo.
Time for a change.
Yeah. Have you and Jeff and Jasmine talked about going on the road together and like doing like a whole this is what Oklahoma deserves, and doing like coffee shop tours or something like that?
Jeff and I, we've talked some, but my district and his district don't overlap very much. Jasmine and myself have been to several events together, and when we're in the same areas together, because she's in the state where I'd waste, and not my district's so big, we have hit a lot of things together. I mean, because we share a lot of the same views. And like I said, I really feel she's truly going to work for the people and those groups that you're talking about that has been left behind or a disadvantage because of the way people just don't take care of those minorities there that you talked about earlier. And our Native American tribes are another group that's in those that have been done wrong. And a long history of being done wrong, along with the rest of those groups that you talked about. And, when you're taking care of rights and protecting everybody's rights, it is everybody. You got to take care of everybody. And we've got to start with the ones that are being kicked down and that have been pushed down for so long, and then ensure that we take care of everybody's rights and continue to protect it all. On tribal, I'm not associated with any of the tribes as far as a tribal member here in Oklahoma, or I can't prove it. I'll put it that way. But I grew up
Me
around
too.
the culture. So, and northeastern Oklahoma's Cherokee country, and in the Cherokee Nation, and so I grew up around the culture, and I'm strongly believe that the treaties that are in place of our sovereign nations, and they should have those treaties honored, and that we need to back those up. And that's another thing I'd love to be able to accomplish in my first 2 years in Congress is upholding those treaties and giving our tribal nations the representation that they're supposed to have under some of those treaties. I think they should have a seat at the table and actually have a voting voice in our Congress. I mean, they were supposed to be given those things, and it's never happened. They got somebody that can go sit in and listen, but they don't have a vote, and that's wrong. And I mean, they're just, those tribal nations are just like the state of Oklahoma. They're supposed to be their own sovereign nation, and they should have those voices. So that's a fight I want to make happen. And it's a big one for our tribal people in this state and throughout our country. And it's I'm not saying it's bigger than other things out there. There's lots of things to take care of, but that's one that I do want to get worked in within the 2 years. So like I said, there's so many things I got to do when we get in there. So we got to hit the ground running. I mean, there's lots of things to fix.
Yeah. I'm Choctaw. I don't have anything to prove that, but my grandmother was Choctaw, and she's from southern Oklahoma. So yeah, I think that's. Say that again.
It's beautiful country down there too.
It's
I love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't be happier about it. We used to be in CD1, and they redistricted and moved us to CD2, and I couldn't be happier for the views that I get driving all up and down eastern Oklahoma. It's so lovely. Spring's nice, and fall's just beautiful as well. So, but down that way, it's just, those areas are just special. I think it's just a connection I have with our tribal nations and the culture. It just means more in those areas to me to be in those areas.
Yeah, I think that's really important for a lot of people, that, this whole nation was stolen from them, and we've just been kicking them the whole time. So that you're standing up for that is huge and wonderful. So thank you for doing that. We talked to a lot of candidates, and I can count on one hand how many have brought up that subject. So thank you for doing that and bringing that up.
Yeah, well, you don't have to thank me for it, because it's just, it's the right thing to do. Right? Like you said, our nation, 250 years, and I love my country, and I'll say it's the greatest nation in the world, but we've had a lot of bad things that we've done throughout this 250 years, and we've got to start learning from the things we've done and start changing the way it is. We can look at the Choctaw Nation, the Cherokee Nation, and look at the things they do, the healthcare systems they have, even the Chickasaw Nation, and how they take care of everybody around them. I mean, our state turned down the federal funding for food for children during the summers, and it hadn't been for our tribal nations. A lot of children wouldn't have had food. They would have went without. So they kicked in and put the money in, because they believe in taking care, not just themselves, but their neighbors. They feel like you've got to take care of the people around you, because you're no better than the people that are there around you. And that's something that we can learn as a nation.
Right. What do you say to people who feel like they've been betrayed by what is happening, and once loved the idea of America and the promise that we were made as children, but they've grown up to become completely disenchanted because they were lied to? What do you say to those people?
Let's go fight. Let's make the change. I mean, I'm one of those people that grew up believing and being told about the great American dream and how great my country was, and I'm I like to think I'm one of the most patriotic people out there. I love our troops. I love my country, and there's nothing that I wouldn't want to do for my country if it's asked upon me. But I look at it now, grown up adult, looking back at it and thinking, okay, all these things I was told was not exactly true. When you go looking at the history of things and where it is, it's not exactly true. So I want to make it that way for my son and for my son's children down the road, later when he has children. I want that American dream to be true because I love this country. So it's we need to uphold the belief that we were told it was. And the only way we're going to do that is stand up and elect people that really believe and feel that way, that are going to put our country first, and put our people first and take care of the interests here, the people, not all the outside stuff going on, the corporate greed and the capitalism that our country has become known for. The great American dream is there for capitalism. I mean,
that's not for us.
No, it's not for us, and that's the sad part. That's the part that gets me down and makes me feel sad because capitalism can be a good thing, but it's when extremely wrong. I mean, you got to have a little bit of social stuff to go in with that to help balance it out. It's great if these places are making tons of money, take care of the people that got you that money. And if you do that, you put back into it, it works. But
unchecked capitalism looks just like this.
Absolutely. And at 3 decades in the working, here we are.
George Carlin had a fabulous quote. And God rest that man. He was a national treasure. He said, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. So, just something to and they criticize us for being woke. Like, hello, I thought that was a good thing. Okay. So what does it mean to you that the idea of America exists, but as a man, you can drive anywhere in the country and you are still your whole person? Okay, you are still yourself. But if a pregnant woman does exactly the same thing, her rights change depending on where she is geographically. So what does that mean? What does it do to this idea of America when people are given rights or taken away rights based off of geographical position?
It's disheartening to me, and it's another one of those things that make you, when you start looking at it, okay, this American dream's not what we said it was. Everybody is supposed to have these rights that are given to you and protected under the Constitution, and now we're wanting to reverse and go back. Things that we fought for, I say we, but my parents and grandparents have fought for over years to get and put in place to get us to a better place in this country and dig us out of the mindset that we have been in. We're reverting, trying to go back and take it the opposite direction. And, it's, I don't understand. I cannot, for the life of me, understand how anybody can do that to the women of this nation. I mean, how can you take the rights away and try to make them less of a person, or make it to where, animals have more rights? I mean, that's ridiculous. It's just unacceptable. I mean, we should have codified Roe back when we had control and was able to do it. They should have codified Roe and put it in the law where it couldn't have been changed. I mean, I'm not saying that the Supreme Court now wouldn't have done it anyway, but it was one of them things that too many people sat back and say, no, it's been 50 years. They're not going to do anything. It's precedent law. They're not going to change it. But when you put people in these positions that are going to work for that agenda, they're absolutely going to do those things. You can't expect not to see that happen. And it's just, for anybody not to have control of their own body in what's supposed to be the land of the free is unacceptable. I mean, it's just not right to not be able to make medical decisions. The only people that should be making those decisions is that woman and their healthcare provider. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where it comes down to. We're supposed to have HIPAA laws, supposed to have protections of those things. I don't want a congressman in there or the president or a Supreme Court judge trying to tell me a decision to make on my healthcare. And neither should they be with my wife or my daughters or anybody. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. That should be a decision that's made with that woman and that. And I have the conversation with a lot of, like I said, trying to talk to traditional Republicans. That's a big thing, especially here in Oklahoma. in what's, the Bible Belt, the abortion thing. It's a big topic, pro-choice or pro-life. It's a big topic, and with a lot of Republicans, that's a hanging point, because I'm pro-choice, and I hear a lot of people talk pro-life and different things, but the best argument I have that I've had people give me on pro-life is when they're really pro-life, and by that, then they say, okay, I don't believe in the death penalty, and I don't believe in not taking care of these children, that get put in the system and then they're timed out and just thrown out. They believe in taking care and adoptions and different things and making sure they're taken care of. Those are really pro-life people. Yeah. But to me, I'm just a pro-choice, because I don't believe that's not a place that, one, I'm not a woman, and I just don't have the ability to make that decision. And, in those situations, that is the toughest thing in the world. I can only imagine somebody having to make that choice, and it's not going to be put lightly on them, and they're going to carry that with them forever. But at the end of the day, on the Christian side of that, if you want to have that conversation on whether it's right religiously or not, we're not supposed to cast a judgment. That's left to God. So
Jesus loves sluts. I'm just saying.
So it's he's the one that's going to make that judgment on Judgment Day, not right. Us, and we can cast that judgment. So that's why I think he would say he's pro-choice as well, because he's going to make the choice later down the road. But I feel everybody is given guidance, and I don't think that it's my choice to make anybody's decision on that. It should be left up to them. As men, we don't understand that bond that women have with that baby, and it happens from the time of conception. They start having the bond, and it starts building. I didn't realize it until my wife and she had 2 daughters when we got married, and so I got kind of thrown into becoming a father and that stuff until my son was born. I didn't realize and understand, and I still can't fathom the complete connection that a woman has with that child, because I can't live that. I can't have that feeling. But for us guys, we don't have that connection until they're born, and we actually have them in our hand. Mm-hmm. And to have that decision and have to make that one of the toughest decisions in the world, who are we to say it's our right to say they can't do that, because we're trying to protect a life, when most of these people who are saying those things aren't going to do anything to take care of that child after birth. And that's the frustrating part.
And I think that there's this misconception too, that people are just, they've got an abortion punch card, and they just, the 12th one's free or something, but the fact of the matter is that a lot of these procedures that have to happen are because there is these are wanted babies. They're wanted. They've got their nurseries already decorated. They've got names picked out. They've already sent out, baby shower invitations. It's just heartbreaking. And that women's lives are put on, they're put on the chopping. They're putting at risk, and they don't it's like they don't care. Abortions are going to continue to happen. And I'm using that word freely on this app, understanding that I might get in trouble on purpose, because I'm not a toddler. But they're going to happen whether they're legal or not. The question is, are they going to be safe? Yeah. Is the thing.
Be medically controlled in an environment that can protect them. Because it's exactly right. They're going to do it. If they need to have it done, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So it's better to be protecting another life versus maybe losing both of those lives. But right. It's like you said, there's a lot of medical reasons behind it. And then you get the ones that want to say, aborting a 9-month-old baby. That I don't know that ever happens.
That only happens if there's something wrong with the baby or the mother. And after 26 weeks, a 9-month-old baby is viable. Like an abortion of a 9-month-old baby is birth. Like, that baby is viable at that point. That is exiting.
It's eviction at that point.
It's eviction. It's like, I just don't understand. It doesn't happen. It doesn't ever I just don't understand it. And the other thing that really concerns me is that, as they were talking about overturning Roe v. Wade months and years ago, now, holy shit, I'm so fucking old. But they were talking about it, right? And everybody was like, nah, it's not going to happen. It's fine. They're not. All of these Supreme Court justices stood in front of their nominating committees, and they said, no, I'm not going to. There's precedent. It's going to be fine. And then they turned around and they did it. And now they're starting to talk about the 19th Amendment. And there's people saying it's not going to happen. It's going to be fine. That's not going to happen. It's in the Constitution, you know, but they're talking about it in the same way that they were talking about Roe v. Wade. So it's really concerning to me as a woman, knowing that this country that, I mean, my family has bled for a century is talking about taking away the rights that my grandmothers fought for.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking, and they're talking about it, which means there's a plan.
There's a plan.
My wife screamed with her hair on fire, like you're saying, that they're going after this, they're going to do that, and like I said earlier, it was everybody saying, "Oh no, that's 50 years of precedent law. They're not ever going to rule against that." And then they sat there and lied at their confirmation hearings and all that, and got in office and did exactly what they were going to that office to do. Yeah. I mean, it was a plan. It was laid out. So yes, it's a realistic fear, and it's rightfully so. And I think it is under attack. I think it is something that's going to be attacked and done away with. We keep going the way we're going. The demise and the downfall of this nation is coming, and it's going to be because of these things being took away. I mean, it's going to be harder to get back control of what we had if we don't stand up and do something now while we have a shot.
If we otherwise, let it go,
take even more action to get it back.
Exactly. I'm not afraid of breaking the system. The system that was built, that we are currently surviving in, was never meant for us. It's not meant to support us. It's not meant to encourage us, it's not meant for us in any way. We are the machine cogs that keep it running for people benefiting at the top. And I'm not ashamed to say that I'm more than happy to help tear that system down. But if we give in to fascism completely and just let them have this, getting it back is going to be crazy hard.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. We can't allow that to happen. We've got to fight at the voter booth now in order to make that not happen. We've got to remove the people that are in place that are allowing these things to go on before it's too late. And we're spiraling in the wrong direction, and we've got to stand up and do something now, or we're facing reverting back many centuries of redoing things to get our nation back. Yeah. Our forefathers, they intended, that Constitution they put in place, they intended that to be a living document. They intended on that to grow with the nation as we grew and to adapt and change. I mean, but they didn't intend on this to happen. I mean, they put three branches in the government. We had the three branches in government in place for a reason, to check and balance things and keep it running and keep these kind of things from going on. And we got an administration now and Congress that doesn't fight and stand up and say, no, these are our jobs to do, and we're going to hold you in check. So we got an administration now that's just kind of took over the whole thing, and they're able to do what they want to do. And that's dangerous for the rights that you're talking about. Those things are under attack.
Yeah. So what has this campaign cost you personally, and why is it still worth it?
It's exhausting. I got to thank my wife and my son for being there and allowing the time that it takes to run. It's cost me a lot of time away from home and a lot of hours and a lot of sleepless nights. A lot of money as well. We put, which my uncle would tell me I'm crazy for doing those things. He's been in political stuff before, but putting some of our own money into this to fight for things that we believe in and helping get the things going. And just the campaign funds, as a rural candidate, a small Oklahoma candidate in a Democrat in a Republican area, and not taking money from big corporations, it's hard. You get donations from everyday people like us, and everybody can't afford to give thousands of dollars. I'm thankful for every dollar I get. There's some people that have donated $1 or $5 in reoccurring donations like that, and that means a lot, because they're giving that, and that's a reach for them, and but they care and they believe in it enough to do it. So it's financial burden that's put on us, making this run, doing these things, the amount of time that I spent away from home, talking about the district size, we live up by the Kansas line. I have to go down to the, down by the Texas line, the campaign and do events and stuff. So that's a lot of time. And I work, like I said, I put in almost 60 hours or more a week at work, and then do this stuff on the, after hours and on the weekends. So it's a lot of time away from home, and a lot of, my wife, like I said, I God bless her for, everything she's done and put up with to go through this, and, the lack of support that she has here at the house, because I'm having to be on the road and working and doing those things. It's a burden on the family. And I don't think people understand that, what does go into the campaigns, but but like I tell her, it's worth it. If we can get in office and make the changes we need to do, it's going to be worth it. It's going to make our son's life better. It's going to make, his children's lives better as when he has them, our grandchildren. It's trying to get our country back, because I really feel like we're losing it to the corporate world, and that's
terrifying.
That's what makes it worthwhile. I mean, it's just the thought that we can make a change, and so that's why I'm still pushing forward and doing what I'm doing.
How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 20. He's a sophomore. Well, he just been his sophomore year. But yeah, I actually had to go back down to Stillwater this weekend for a little bit, but he's done with school for this year's through finals and everything. And sophomore, he loves it. And it's great. I remember when he's so little, they grow so fast.
I know.
I wish you get big and we can do all these other things. And that's like, man, slow down.
My son is graduating high school. Yeah, my son's graduating high school next month, and I'm like, I'm not ready.
Yeah, I know.
I should not become an old lady.
Yeah, we're getting older, and but it's the next, it's the next chapter in their life too. So but you're never ready for it. That's but we went through the time. He was through COVID and all that stuff, so it's a weird deal having to go through, and then graduation with all the gun violence out there. He was always scared to death of an active shooting happening in our school here in Bartlesville, even up to graduation. He just, he got through school finally. He thought, man, something's going to happen to graduate. I caught myself watching around and, just looking around more than paying attention to graduation, just because of that. And it's, so those things are just what our children's had to grow up in, because of the things we've allowed to go on in this country. Is another reason I'm running. It's just, it's horrible.
From the pro-life crowd. That's the thing, that the hypocrisy just absolutely knocks me on my ass on a daily with that whole thing. So what do you say to somebody who wants to fight back but feels like they're too small to matter?
It's like, I just tell everybody, every vote does matter. So it's, if you buy into your vote doesn't matter, or it's just you can't win this race, then it never happens if you don't try. And being an athletic guy, being a competitive person, there's lots of times that I've done things that I was told I couldn't do. So it's possible if you put the effort forward. I mean, it's only impossible if you don't try. So that's the thing that I keep trying to tell people is, it's only not possible if you don't put an effort for it. But if you're willing to work at it and try to make it happen, there's hope. So, get on board and help out. You've got to be part of the change if you really want to see change.
Yeah, and I think that especially in our communities, when everybody's so, disenchanted by the policies that they've had to live under for decades, it's more important now than ever, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I know we keep saying, people keep hearing that over and over and over, but it's the longer we go without making the change, it is obviously.
Yeah, and I know that the DNC says that. They say that all the time, like, you have to vote right now. It's now or the whole system is going to collapse. You have to invite us into, get us into office, otherwise bad. Every election cycle. Every election cycle, the house is on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like
it's so important now too. I mean, it's just, we've gone so far. I mean, we're taking rights away. That's the more that goes away. It obviously it's very important right now to make the changes and stop that. And So yeah, it's we hear it all the time, but it is a very important time to do that. Like I said, I think we're dangerously close. If we don't change something, we're going to see a collapse. I mean, they're driving us over the cliff, and in so many different directions.
Yeah. Yep. So when the trolls are trolling and the fundraising is dry and democracy is acting like a raccoon trapped in a Dollar General store, what reminds you that this fight is still worth having?
I think back to my son talking about not wanting to live in Oklahoma and move out of Oklahoma after he's done with school because of the way the state is, the way the education system is in the state, and I just look around and think, this is not what I grew up believing this country was. It's not the American dream. The American dream is what pushes me. I think more than anything is I want this country to be what I grew up believing and told it was.
Yes.
And I want to make that country be that. It's pushing to really have the greatest country in the world. Not just we say it is, and not because we have the freedoms that we have, but we're losing those. It's protecting those freedoms, and then it's standing up and fighting and making it a place where all our citizens are taken care of. They have health care. They have the right to take care of themselves and make their own choices with their bodies, and their healthcare decisions. And we can go to get our education, and it doesn't leave you bankrupt afterwards, and you have to work for most of your life to pay off those student debts. It's ridiculous when our country can benefit from all these children going to these schools and getting these educations, going into workforces and making this country better and inventing things that can better our lives. Why do we want to make them where they can't afford to do it? Where not everybody can afford to do that. Every child should have the right to be able to go get that higher education. It's those things that keep pushing me forward to make to where we have this. And when our veterans are took care of and given everything they need, I don't believe that any of our veterans coming home should be treated, just brought home and forgotten about. They need to be given the care that they need. They need the health care they need, and they should never need and want for anything. And it should be something that takes forever to do, and they shouldn't have to battle and fight to get the things that they need. It should be an easier deal to get there. I mean, they put their lives, and not just them, but their families. And I always thank all the veterans everywhere I go. I start off by thanking any veterans out there and their family, because it's just like running this campaign. Their struggles. The things I see is also burdens on my family and our military families when they're deported or off, sent to duty and overseas and on active duty. Their families are left here on stateside or in the bases where they're at, mm-hmm. and barely getting by, barely being able to, they're struggling as well. And that's not right. We should be taking care of our military families and our veterans. They should have wages that make sure they can live and survive and live with dignity and not have to struggle or be on food stamps, to make ends meet. I mean, they should
thrive. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but they should be thriving with this. I mean, with the sacrifices that our veterans make to serve the country, and the sacrifices that their families make when they watch them get on a plane and go overseas or wherever they are. Deported's the wrong word. It's
put in active duty. I mean, when they're what is that? Yeah, I'm sorry. But
see,
yeah,
we're doing it. We're both having a brain fart here. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us out here. They're not deported. They're
activated or called in the service. But
yes, something like that. But yeah, deployed. Thank you. Oh my gosh, it was right there.
Deployed. There you go.
Deployed. I'm like, I know I'm not dumb. I've heard it before. Yes, thank you guys. Yeah, the families make the sacrifices too. Those kids grow up without seeing their parents all the time. Those wives grow up. They don't grow up. They survive every day. Yes, it's just trying their best to hold everything together on scraps. Cutting coupons and trying really hard to make sure that the lights stay on and, the kids are still being taken to school and, forget about the minimum wage job. It's just, it's hard.
Yeah. And how can it be the greatest country in the world when we let so much of that go by with the people that are putting the most into making sure we have this American dream? It's just crazy. That's one of the flaws we have that we should be protecting and taking care of. You
Yeah.
know, the sacrifices they have, why they're over there doing what they need to be doing, and single moms basically at that point they're taking care of them children by themselves, and dreading and fearing the possible knock on that door,
Yeah.
the stress that puts on us, that should come with a heavy price tag for our government. We should take care of our veterans and their families.
There's so many classes of, like, so many different groups of people that this country has left behind. It's not just our veterans, which feels like the most common sense thing that we should be taking care of, right? Like, that feels like the thing that we should be doing.
Yeah.
But it's our veterans, and it's our women, and it's the children, it's the education system, it's the disabled, it's the LGBTQ community, it's the people of color. It's, there's so many. It feels like unless you have like 7 or 8 zeros behind your bank account, you don't matter.
Yep. I was going to say, it's like, who aren't we leaving behind? It's like,
Yeah.
if you got money, then you matter. If you don't, you don't matter. And that's sad, but that's the corporate world that we've allowed to grow over 3 decades, and it's out of control.
Jose wants to know if your governor is supporting the current administration policies or executive orders.
Our governor is he's not a very good governor. I keep saying that, no, he's not. He doesn't support the people here, and he fights with our Native American tribes constantly. I used to joke about how I said it can't get any worse than the last one we had, but I've proven wrong every time I say it. So I'm
Don't
not
say
saying
that.
Not
Stop
saying
saying it,
anymore.
Brandon.
I completely believe it can get worse.
You're
We
like,
do have a good candidate
"Sorry,
running.
universe." Yeah, don't tempt the universe with a good time, man. Yeah, I think your governor is MAGA, isn't he?
Yeah, he's MAGA. He's a Trump supporter, strong Republican. Like most of our House and Senate here in the state are. And that's where we're at. I mean, the last Democratic governor we had, we were 17th in the nation with Brad Henry in education. And from the time he's left, we haven't had a Democratic governor since. And we went from 17th to dead last in education. And you just see the spiraling of the way things go. And it's the same thing. They want all the things like Trump says to do, and cut all these taxes and all these different things, and take away, the things that fund the things that we have, public education, hospitals, healthcare, those things, and then want to privatize everything. It's the same old book.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I don't understand how people continue to buy into that, but it's
Is
money.
Is he your governor? Is he up for re-election right now? Kim wants to know.
He's termed out. So
thank goodness.
It'll be a new governor, one way or the other. Like I said, we got on the Democratic side, we got a good candidate running, Cindy Munson. She's actually served in our state offices, and she's running for governor and would be a great governor to have. And I think we can do that. I think it's attainable, even though it's red as it is, and this whole state voted. Every county went to Trump. I think the change is there. So I think she has a chance of making the change.
But Kansas has a female Democratic governor, don't they?
I'm not 100% sure. I think they do.
So okay, just let's take a little walk. Let's take a short little stroll, if you will, down imagination lane, where possibility is endless, and we manifest that shit. Okay, so we're walking, we're strolling, and Cindy Bunsen wins, and so does Gina Hinojosa, and that's like the most reddest part of the Bible Belt is suddenly not anymore. Like, how freaking cool would that be?
It'd be awesome, because it means we're going in the direction we need to be going. It means people have finally had enough. And they're voting for a change in direction. I mean, and I think it's possible. I truly believe it's possible. I think that's very possible that could happen.
I sure hope so. I'm so ready to flip the state. When I moved here from California in 24, Yeah, it was 2024. I said one of the reasons, like, why would you do that? First of all, don't ever do that. That's not recommended. Do not recommend 1 star. But I told my family, if we move to Texas, we will get to vote Ted Cruz out of office. And that's reason enough, right? So I know he's not up for election, but James Tallarico would be great. So I'm excited about what could happen here, and in Oklahoma. It's going to be amazing. So,
like, I was in Durant, talking, and there was a lady that came up from Texas to hear me talk there, and she was just talking about the changes that she's hearing, and the way people are talking differently in Texas. So it gives me hope that there is a change in the wind.
Yeah, it does. It does for me too. It doesn't feel so hopeless out here as it did when I first moved here. So it's a good thing. So I have 2 more questions for you, and then I'm going to open it up to the folks in the chat. If you guys have any questions, I know we've been kind of sprinkling them in as you guys have been asking them, but if there's any burning questions you guys have for Brandon, put them in the chat now, and we will get to them in just a moment. My first question is, how often does your heart break for this country, and what do you tell yourself when you start feeling that sense of dread?
Quite often. I mean, if I spend time, which I don't get to watch TV much, but if I spend time watching the news, it breaks quite often when I see all the different things going. If it's either the homeless stuff going around when they talk about that here or there, or people that's had trouble with healthcare costs, the rising cost of fuel as I drive up and down eastern Oklahoma. A lot of those things, and like we were talking earlier, the rights that are being took away. That definitely breaks my heart, and it's but it's those things that keep pushing me forward, that I just, what's inside of me that's always made me work and go is you gotta fight for what's right. You gotta stand up and take care of the people that maybe aren't able to do that for themselves, that need a voice or need somebody to stand up and fight, take on the bully kind of thing. If there's somebody out there not treating somebody right, you need to stand up for them and take care of them. And so it's that drive and desire inside of me that keeps pushing me forward to do the things that need to be done. Because I feel that eastern Oklahoma needs somebody to stand up and fight for them. Somebody's going to listen to them, and somebody's going to go give their voice back to our government.
Yeah, I love the idea that somebody that is representing the people knows what the people are paying for a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's super important. So my last question for you is that we've had people moseying in and, lots of people coming in to check you out. What can people do if they don't live in Oklahoma? What can they do to get in touch with your campaign, to help you out, to push your message forward? What can people do if they don't live locally, and what can people do if they are local to you?
Okay, obviously, it takes money to win these races, unfortunately, and not necessarily just to win the races, but to win the race, you have to be able to get in front of people. You have to talk to people. So it takes money to do that, and maybe that's part of Trump's plan with driving the gas prices as high as they can. It may help eliminate some of us Democratic candidates that don't get the funding that other people have from getting to where they need to do to see the people they need to see. So donating to my campaign is critical. If you can donate, it's greatly appreciated. It's used to buy material for, walk cards and things like that, get material out to people. Campaign signs, which people, you have advisors that tell you that they don't really win elections, but people always want them. Yeah. And it brings the name recognition out there to people when they see them and drive by. So they're important to have. People want to have them. It gives them the feel like they're part of the campaign with that as well, which they are. It is their campaign. That's not my campaign. So, donate to my campaign. You can do that at brandonforcongress.com. That's the number 4. You can go on my website there and look. It's got a deal that'll take you to my Act Blue account. Donate there. You can reach out to me there. You can check out different things I got on there, like I said, that American Dreams Act, and kind of how, those things can take care of things, and something I want to put in office, as soon as I get there, things I wanted to get passed, and I need to get support from the people there to get it done, because we got to get people to buy onto it. And then if you live out of state, definitely donate. That can help. But if you're surrounding states, Texas, Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, all those states that are up to eastern Oklahoma, you might have family members that live in this state. Talk to them, spread the word. Let word of mouth is a big thing that can get out there. And the people, if you know people who live in my district, please talk to them. If you think I'm a viable candidate that is fighting for the right things, let them know about me. Tell them what you heard. When it comes from somebody you're willing to take that deeper to heart than just hearing me on a show like this without being able to see or talk to me. And if you're in the state, just like I'm telling everybody after the primaries, because I can't ask the parties to do anything until after the primary, because of rules. Once the primary is over and I move on to the general, it's time we all get on board. I need people to go out and knock doors, talk to their friends, family, and neighbors, talk to your traditional Republican friends, family members, and tell them about me, because they're not happy either. I mean, they're all upset with the bill of lies that they were told and they bought into. And I don't blame people for buying into the promises they were given when they truly believed it. I mean, if you get behind somebody and you believe somebody and get locked into that, I see where it can happen. But from us who can stand back and look and knew exactly what he was going to do, that he didn't care about the people. It's hard to understand how somebody bought into those things, but it does happen. There's brainwashing or whatever you want to do. They get you to believe. They talk about we were high prices. There were high prices and stuff. Stuff was costing a lot of money. So when they run a campaign on bringing those costs down, people want those things to happen. So they, maybe this can happen. And we have short memories of what happened before. So that's where that happened. But talk to those, friends and family, and, let them know. I had a friend of mine that, was a Trump supporter, that's a Republican, diehard Republican, but he said he's voting for, he may just vote for me this election cycle. And it's, he says, Brandon, I believe in you. I know you're going to do the things to do, and I don't think you're going to be bought or paid for, and I don't think they're going to corrupt you when you get to DC. But I think your problem you're going to have with Republican voters is they're not going to trust that. I said, and that's when you come in to help. You know those people, they trust you. Let them know who I am. Let them know that I'm the person that you believe in and that you're going to vote for. And let's have a conversation. Let's organize a little town hall or a cookout or anything where we can get together and have conversations so they can truly understand that I'm here to work for them as well. And, it's those things that got to happen throughout eastern Oklahoma, and every county has got to get on board. So if you don't have money to donate, those are things you can do as well, is, go out and knock doors, go tell people about me, spread the word, make people have plans to get out and vote. We've got
and they can phone bank too for you, can't they?
Absolutely. Yes. Phone bank, postcards. I mean, we can get postcards to you, and you can send postcards out to people, mail them, get mailer lists and send them out to people and get those words out. The phone banking is definitely good. It gets words out, but I know a lot of people are tired of hearing it. It's, there's people already tired of hearing ads on the TV. They're tired of getting phone calls. But, I think talking to people in person, that means so much more. So if you can tell the people, about me, and if you support me and you believe in me, you'll share that. It's kind of like Bernie Sanders. That's building it from the ground up like that. He built an excitement, and everybody got talking about it, and everybody got on board, and everybody believed in what he was saying, because everybody else that you talked to, you told your friends about him. Man, this guy is fighting for us, and this guy's going to do this and that. And it grew into a large following. And that's what we need. Let's grow a large following. Let's get, there's strength in numbers. That's the thing that it's true. There is strength in numbers. We're more powerful together, and we can make the change we got to make if we all come together and come together. I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican. Let's come together as people of eastern Oklahoma, and let's come together. And then as a nation, we can come together. Unfortunately, when bad things happen to our nation, that seems to be where we grow and come together the most. We need to do that without happen to be attacked to do that. We need to come together as a nation again. We can disagree. We can agree to disagree on things.
Sure.
We have a conversation, and come to what's best for the people. That's all we got to do. Just work together with one another, and agree to disagree on things, but work together to do your job. That's what's been forgotten.
Except for billionaires, I feel passionately that billionaires shouldn't exist. So that's just me. I want to feed them to the wolves. Jose wants to know what your strategy is concerning your opponent's views, and are they within your same mindset?
My strategy is to get my opponent's views. Like in a general, we couldn't be further apart. I mean, he truly doesn't represent the people of this district. I mean, like I said, we talked about the town halls earlier. When the last time he done a town hall was, he really hasn't done a town hall because not since he got elected that I know of. He doesn't really come and actually talk to the voters and listen to what they have to say on either side. I mean, now he may do that like you talked about earlier. He may go to a setting where it's just Republican people there and it's a crowd friendly for him. He may listen to those people, but when it's a true town hall and everybody shows up, he doesn't listen to them. And, that's where I'm different. I am a person that truly wants to be a representative. And to be a representative, you have to listen to everybody. You have to know what the people of your district want. And I understand how to do that. And that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I have my views and my opinions on how I think things ought to be. But at the end of the day, I'm supposed to vote the way the people in my district tell me to vote. And that's what I'm going to office to do.
That's awesome. What about your primary opponent?
My primary opponent, what I tell everybody, like I said, because I'm not going to say bad things about him at all because I like the guy. That's where I differ from. I'm not a politician. Where I'm not going to, but I tell everybody if you was to ask me what I think puts me over the edge, makes me a better choice than him is. I feel like I'm just the representative side of what I've done in my past and how to be a representative. I feel like that takes me negotiating contracts and things. I feel like puts me over the edge. I feel like I'm the candidate that is more ready to go to work the day after election. I feel like I'm the candidate that can resonate with and reach across the aisle and have conversations with the other side and start opening up those doors again where we can have communication and actually start doing what we're supposed to do and work on bills and create bills that work and benefit everybody. I feel like I'm better suited to do that just because for 26 years, I've been negotiating and doing things and I understand how to do those things. And I feel that's my strongest point. And I feel that's what sets me aside from my primary candidate.
Have you guys had discussions and talked about how to continue to work together regardless of what the outcome is?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're friends. I mean, so we obviously talk to one another, and there's no bad feeling, whatever. So whoever wins the primary, yeah, we've got to be on board. The other one's going to support the other, and if he needs me to go out and knock doors and talk to people, I'm going to go do that for him as well, because I feel he's better than what we have. I mean, if it's not me, then I'm going to push to get him in there because we need to make a change.
We have to throw all the spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah,
all of it.
Absolutely, 100% on board. If it's not me, then I become one of his biggest influencer. I'm going to go push for him as well.
And I love that. I can't tell you how many and it's disheartening because there have been candidates that we've spoken to that are super passionate. They're gung-ho, they're ready to go, they're doing this for the people, and then they lose their primary and it's sour grapes. And they are, and of course, you put everything you have into and you don't make it across the finish line. But to not see the progress that was made during that time, to see there's not a single person that you spoke to that you didn't change their mind. Obviously, there was people that voted. So yeah, it's disheartening. And it feels really good to know that there are candidates that are vying for the same seat in a primary, but that are going to be working together to make change for the people, which is what this is all about. Anyway.
Yeah, and I believe Eric feels the same way. I think I think he'll be on board. I don't think he'll just go away when it's over if he doesn't win. I believe he's going to help me as well. Because yeah, it's the same thing. We put all of our time into this, and we've got supporters and we got people's on there. And unlike in 16 when we talked about Bernie Sanders in that primary, he did that thing. He got on board and he pushed to try to make Hillary become be the winner of that election. He did everything he could, but he wasn't going to tell his voters how to vote. He wasn't going to say you had to do this, which is things that I was told here in Washington County, that because I was mad and upset at how things went, that I had to get on board, and I had to just fall in line, and I had to be pro Hillary because of that. I'm not going to be that way. I'm not going to tell my voters that vote for me in the primary that, hey, you got to get behind him. But I am going to help answer questions for you about him. What concerns you have. I'll go talk to him. I'll share those concerns with him, and we'll come back and have a conversation with you if that's what you need. So you can better get answers. Because obviously he's a better candidate. He's a better option than what we have in office if that's what happens. So I want to help get those answers, because I want voters to be educated and be able to make sound decisions and feel like they're not throwing their vote away, feel like they're actually voting for somebody they support.
Yeah, that's really important. Somebody who motivates them. That's good. That's awesome. So, okay, so one more time, drop your website for everybody. Make sure you guys are following this man, please. Likes and shares are free. Pushing out content is free, you guys, and that helps him with name recognition. This system was not built for grassroots candidates like Brandon to succeed. We have to break that system, but that unfortunately, we have to win the game if we want to change the rules, right? So in the meantime, that burden falls on us. If we want to see our neighbors, our teachers, our librarians, our friends running for office, and we want to make sure that they succeed, that falls on us. The corporations and PACs and all those, they're not going to be chipping into Brandon's campaign. It's got to be us. So one more time, what's that website?
It's Brandon for Congress. That's the number 4. So BrandonForCongress.com. Come out there, support me, donate if you can. It's greatly appreciated. You got to have a seat at the table. I mean, that's it. If we don't have a seat at the table, we can't make the changes we got to do. You got to have a voice, and to have a voice, we got to put somebody there to do it. Guys, I'm here to be the voice, not just for Eastern Oklahoma, but really for this whole nation. I mean, we've got to make the changes. So, even if you don't live in Oklahoma, donating to my campaign is not a loss. I mean, I'm somebody that's going to fight for your rights and your voice and the things you need as well. And if there's candidates in your area, if I get elected and I can be a help, I'm going to help those candidates as well, because we got to get people elected to this office that are going to be like-minded and do the things that we need to do to correct the course. I mean, we've drifted astray here, and we got to get a hold of it again.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, it was very inspiring to talk to you today, Brandon. Thank you so much for allowing us to reschedule you after I think it was last week. Was it last week or the week before? Anyway.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was.
It
worked out anyway, because it was a rush. I had to go to Stillwater for my son. He needed something down there at college. So it was okay, I'll rush down there, but I'm going to have to set up in your apartment and do this
nice.
show. And so it ended up working out anyway, but I appreciate you having me on, and thanks for all the help that everybody here and the support that you guys give me. It's very, very thankful.
Yeah, and just so you know, we've reached 130,000. Yeah, 130.9 thousand likes. So guess what? We're going to be making a donation now. I'm not made of money. I'm not rolling in the dough. But we will be making a donation to your campaign, and I hope that it helps. And of course, we will be sending you, once we get this episode uploaded on Substack, we're going to send you a rebooking link, because we want you to come back even after your primary, even if you win, even if you lose, whatever happens, we want you to come back and talk about your experience and what you learned and what you would do different, and get all of the juice on what has happened in the last, however long it's been since we talked to you last.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I appreciate you all, and thank you for everything you do. I mean, it's exactly what you say. It does take a village. That's our, the Native American culture around here is it takes all of us together, come together and help one another. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brandon. We really appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Wade. So we're going to close up the show, Brandon. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. We just have a few little things to tie up before we say goodnight. And I've got a margarita waiting for me, so this isn't going to take long. All right. First of all, of course, I want you guys to know about Not Your Merch. If you don't know about Not Your Merch, they're incredible. They're amazing. They're wonderful. Not only are they a small Latina-owned business that are doing everything that they can to fight against the current administration, they give you the tools that you need to do the same. And they give you they provide things that will allow you to wear your voice on your chest without having to say a word. And especially in places like northern Texas and eastern Oklahoma and western Kansas, all of those things are super duper important to be able to do. Because it makes that trans kid who's been alienated for years realize that they're not alone. It makes that immigrant feel like they're safe. So it's so very important. Go check them out, notyourmerch.com/ITAV. Pick up a couple of things and put your voice on your chest. Now more than ever, it is so very important. Also, Monday is going to be a great show. I've actually been preparing, and usually with these shows, I just sort of fly off the handle, but not this time. And not to say that I didn't, Brandon, you're amazing. I definitely did prepare for yours. But everybody else, if you say anything else, I'll deny it. We're having an amazing show about this war on women, is what we're calling it. About the fight for choice and how important it is to have choice. And it's not just about the choice to have children. It's the choice to be able to vote. It's the choice to own land or not own land. It's the choice to be married or not be married. There's so many things that they're trying to and talking openly about taking away from us women. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to have an awesome panel who's going to be joining us. Fabulous Finds is going to be joining us. She will be here. There's going to be some other amazing women as well. And we're going to talk about what is happening so that everyone can be aware. And this is not another rug that gets pulled out from under us like Roe v. Wade was. So make sure that you can join us on Monday. It's going to be at 6:30 Eastern. Apparently that's the only time zone that exists. I know. It's not my rules. I don't make the rules. Yes, please join us. It's going to be an amazing show, and I can't wait to spill all of the stuff that we've been preparing to share with you guys. It's going to make your blood boil, but it's going to give you a ton of hope as well. So I hope you guys can join us. And Brandon, of course, you're always welcome to come back, for a male perspective. That might be good too, Yeah. You got brought into being a girl dad, later in your life because your wife had daughters, so it matters.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I choked up, but
it's okay.
Yeah, I'll try to get on there.
It's very emotional. Okay, guys, listen. This is why we are here. Okay, it's not because it's easy. It's not because the odds are always in our favor, but because democracy has always depended on ordinary people deciding not to give up. Okay, I know that things feel super heavy right now. Every day there's another headline designed to exhaust us, divide us, and convince us that nothing will ever change. But hear me clearly. All is not lost. It is not lost because we are still here. People are still organizing. People are still protesting. They're still running for office in impossible districts, or what it seems, but showing up for each other. And that matters more than they want us to believe it does. Authoritarians thrive on hopelessness. They want us isolated, cynical, and quiet. So be loud, build community, help each other, laugh anyway, flip the bird, scream into the wind, flip over a table, love and fight every single day, because joy is resistance too. Choosing joy, hope, and community in the middle of chaos is how we remind them that they have not broken us yet. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for caring. Thank you for believing in this country. It is still worth fighting for. Go support Brandon Wade if you can. Keep showing up. And remember, democracy is not a spectator sport, folks. It depends on all of us. Thank you so much for being here. We can't wait to see you next time. Go have a margarita. Have a great night, guys. Thanks again, Brandon.
Thank you all.